All right, back here in Boulder, Colorado. Brian, how was your trip back from Fort Worth?
It was good. I got to see a Rangers game down there. Saw Max Scherzer pitch really well for 6 innings. Then they took him out and the bullpen blew it. But it was fun to see Max Scherzer pitch and see a new stadium and had some Texas barbecue down there. So you can't complain when you get some good Texas barbecue and see some baseball as well as an entertaining football game.
And on your recommendation, I went to Heart 8 Barbecue. It was very solid, very solid. Would recommend it to other people. Maybe not the best I've ever had. I'm a Kansas City barbecue guy, but I really enjoyed that. We went to the JFK Memorial, so that was I'm a history buff, so that was fun. But the football game is what has people still buzzing about this football program. I don't know if there was a sports show on Monday that didn't talk about CU.
Extensively, right?
Yeah.
It wasn't even just for a quick minute, Deion Sanders won his first game. It was they're breaking down plays. I mean, you have Richard Sherman and Michael Irvin and Keyshawn Johnson, breaking down plays on national TV. It's like, what is going on here? Like, it was kind of this surreal world we were living in Monday and really all week. But yeah, it's been crazy to see. We've known that it's been a transformational hire, right? But to see the impact of a victory and to see how much people have kind of jumped on that, and there's been talk of like, hey, are they America's team now? I don't know if it's that, but they're certainly getting a lot of attention. And when LeBron is tweeting about you and Patrick Mahomes and all these guys are tweeting about the Colorado Buffaloes, again, you're like, what world am I living in here that this is happening? But kudos to Coach Prime and the staff and these players because they told us all offseason, hey, this is what we're going to do. And then they go out and back it up. And, certainly there's some things you can nitpick on that game. And defense wasn't great. And special teams, as Coach Prime said, was horrendous at times the other day. But they won the football game. And they went out and beat a team that people thought they weren't going to beat.
We come back from Fort Worth and our dog is coughing up a lung. So I ended up spending yesterday at urgent care with her. You were at the press conference and thankful for Jamie Searfoss for covering it for me yesterday. What were your main takeaways from the Tuesday presser?
Yeah, really just, the confidence is still there, right? And it's like, the post game obviously was kind of a, hey, we told you so. You didn't believe, we told you so. But I thought the press conference the other day was really just kind of like, well, yeah, no, we did that, but now we're turning the page and we got to focus on Nebraska and we got to go do it again. And so I thought that was kind of the big thing was, Shedeur especially, he's like, well, whatever. That I don't even think about that game anymore. I'm just ready to face Nebraska. And so you have to like that attitude with these guys that it was a nice win, but they know they got 11 more at least.
One piece of news came out of that too. Miles Slusher is not expected to play this week, or is it Slusher? I don't know. I'm confused after listening to Gus Johnson on that call. Did you rewatch the game?
I did. Yeah, I've always thought it was Slusher and heard Slusher, nothing but Slusher, but.
I like Slusher though. That's fun to say.
It's different, it put a different twist on it, but I think it's Slusher. Coach Prime calls him Slush and calls him Slusher, so I'm going to go with what Coach Prime says over Gus Johnson. As much as I respect what Gus Johnson does, but yeah, that's a tough loss for them because he played I think 77 out of 80 snaps, something like that on defense, and had the big tackle at the end. So that's a big loss for them, but. If you're going to miss somebody, I think that's one of the position groups you can miss somebody because they're so deep at safety. We've talked about it so much that, Cameron Silman-Craig only played a handful of snaps, and this is a guy that we've talked about all offseason. Roderick Ward didn't play a ton of safety. Jaden Milner-Jones we think is going to be a pretty good player at some point. Is he ready quite yet? I don't know, but that's a talented safety as well. So you have some guys there.
Also, a little bit of injury news at the receiver position. They're kind of being precautious with Giovanni Antonio this week, but based on what Coach Bartoloni, his position coach, said today, it sounds like he'll most likely be out there. I'm sure you've done a lot of radio interviews in the last few days. It's been just nuts, the amount of people that want to talk Colorado football. I keep getting asked, is it sustainable with Travis Hunter? I think the official count was 129 snaps in the opener. I think Pro Football Focus had there being more because they count penalties as well in there, but I kind of keep coming back to what I felt in the preseason, that if you're talking about 99.9% of players, then absolutely it's not sustainable. There's no way. Travis Hunter seems to be that 0.1%. And I even say often that the way he falls on the field is very graceful. He knows how to kind of protect his body a little bit. Now, it's still going to be challenging to play over 100 snaps week after week, but it sounds like he's not going to practice a whole lot during the season.
Yeah, and he and Dylan Edwards, Coach Prime talked about how he gave both of them the week off up until Wednesday, which is today as we're doing this, and that's how you have to do it with Travis Hunters. You have to load manage during the week because frankly, how much better is he going to get by practicing 3 days a week as opposed to one, right? Or whatever it is, 4 days a week as opposed to two. He's probably not going to get a ton better in that regard. You want him on Saturdays. And can he play that many snaps every week? I don't know. I think that CU is going to hope that there's some games where, whether it's this week, that you're up by, 2-3 touchdowns and you don't have to play him that much. And you can take him off the field a little bit more. But they needed him every snap against TCU because it obviously came down to the wire. So you would hope there's some games where he doesn't have to do that. But I think he can do it. I think that he's a unique individual and he's one of those rare talents. Now, if he's a 5-year, 10-year veteran in the NFL, I don't see him still doing that. Yeah, right. But right now, as a 20-year-old, whatever he is, college student, I think he can do it.
We had a chance to talk to Jimmy Horn and Xavier Weaver. I love the personality on those guys. Jimmy Horn is a walking quote machine when he walks into those media scrums. They didn't win a lot of football games at USF, so they kind of felt what those of us around here in Boulder have felt with Colorado football in previous years. Kind of a touching moment that they shared that they were both crying after the game as they embraced each other. That it means a lot to everybody on this football team, but guys like that have tried and been very productive individually, finally finding some team success with a huge spotlight on them. That was pretty cool to hear about that.
That is awesome, and they obviously didn't get blown out like CU did a lot last year, but they were 1-11 also. They only experienced one win, and so to get that opening win and to be both of them play such a big role in that, was huge for them. And they've been good friends for a couple of years now. And Jimmy Horn was saying, hey, we didn't win very much down there, and so just those emotions poured out, and you love to see it because those guys are going to be huge all season.
All right, well, we got to preview the Nebraska game, and as you can see behind me, Folsom Field's looking pretty good these days. We'll be back tomorrow with an analysis and preview of the Nebraska game.